What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. I'm Dom with the Great Man Sauce, and we have a treat in store for you today in our Christmas special.
What is going on, Doma? Big one
Much
today.
big one. Welcome to Buster Scher. What is going on?
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thank you for coming on to the show. Massive. We're so excited to have you on today. Just going to run through some questions, talk some hoops, talk some cards. We've seen some interesting stuff posted by yourself in terms of like your personal collection. So it'd be good to discuss a few of those things. We talk any cards, not just sports. So we will talk about some presidential cards that you've been collecting, which is awesome. But we'll just get straight into it. You've got one of the most interesting stories starting from a young age. If you can just give some background info into how you started Hoops Nation and just how you progressed through your career.
Yeah, totally. So I started a fantasy basketball outlet when I was like 13, 14 years old. It originated because all of my friends were into fantasy football. And fantasy football back in like 2013, 14 had a ton of coverage. Every outlet was talking about it. You could find it anywhere. You could get all the info you wanted. But that didn't exist for what I liked. I wasn't a football guy. I was a basketball guy, still am. And given that nobody else was caring about it, I thought, why not me? So I just started blogging about fantasy basketball when I was, back younger, and was doing that for about a year and a half. Around that time, my family and I we moved to Connecticut, and I always thought I was going to be a play-by-play broadcaster. Well, I thought I was going to be the point guard for the New York Knicks, but second, I thought I was going to be a play-by-play broadcaster.
Lucky
And
that you're
once
not
I,
not the point guard for the Knicks. That's you probably saved yourself there.
you might be right about that, but I didn't make my JV basketball team my sophomore year of high school. I did not, then grow 6 inches and come back like Michael Jordan. I didn't do any of that. I went in the opposite direction. I started doing play by play broadcasting for the girls' JV field hockey games on local radio. And I kid you not, I thought at that point I had made it just because I was doing that, even though I didn't know the sport, any of the players, any of the rules. I was just having a good time and thought that that was the pinnacle. But slowly started broadcasting my way up to doing the football and basketball games. And around the same time, I had taken that fantasy outlet and turned it into an all NBA encompassing one called All NBA All Day. That was what it was called back on Facebook. And then from doing more of the broadcasting stuff, the play by play, and doing this online Facebook outlet, I realized that I could sort of merge the two together and start doing live broadcasts talking about basketball as with me, myself, as the talent. I started doing that. Some bigger pages took notice. They had me start streaming on their pages, and I never took any pay for it. All I wanted was to be able to promote my own outlet. So through that, I was really able to build up this all NBA all day thing. And I also realized that I should build an outlet that covers all levels of basketball, not just the NBA. And that's how Hoops Nation came to be. I don't want to bore you guys with too much of the details, but that's kind of the origin story for the Hoops Nation side of things. But these days I'm doing a lot of different stuff. But that's the origin story of Hoops Nation.
Definitely got a lot on the go at the moment. We saw that we'll talk about it just a bit later, but obviously you've got another affiliate page to Hoops Nation now. You've got your podcast. You're a very busy man, which is awesome. Starting out from literally doing play-by-play, like you said, for hockey and through that fantasy Facebook page. So it's just awesome. Your story is fantastic. But another thing I noticed was you've worked at a few companies doing internships, and I just wanted to get you to explain to people that are listening or watching what it was like to work at companies such as Vayner Media, where you interned at 16, Dunk, Atlantic, and Overtime. So just a bit of like, what skills did you learn? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing that I would definitely recommend to anybody under the age of 18 would be to spend your entire summers and as much time as you can interning at as many different companies as you possibly can. And to put that as a priority over money. Put the experience over money when you don't need money. Sounds straightforward, but I think that is it helped me a lot. So I think it would definitely help other people. But in terms of your question, so I interned at VaynerMedia working in a subdivision called Vayner Talent, and that was great because I really looked up to Gary and to be able to be in that world, seeing kind of how things moved and how different it was than I expected. But how much I learned from that experience was just so great, and I'm very grateful that they had me. And then over time, similar situation. They only had 7 employees at the time, so to see a company like that at its very beginning stages, the founder Dan, he told me exactly what they were going to do before they did it. Saying that it was going to be the biggest media outlet for high school sports and beyond. They did it. Now they have like 150 employees. It's insane. So to
Wow.
see kind of the beginnings of that was really cool. And then Dunk is that's my brother Elliot. He's the man, and we've been doing stuff together since I was like 15, 16 years old. And then Atlantic, I never interned or did anything at Atlantic, but I work with them all the time on promoting hip hop artists across social media. That's like another little business thing that I do, helping both for pop artists and hip hop artists through different record labels when they have new releases. I'll take those songs, put them over the tops of sports highlights, memes, clips, and then distribute those across social so people know that they've got new stuff.
Very nice.
Awesome. Awesome.
Very, very nice. We actually interviewed someone recently here in Australia, and just a bit off topic, but he was talking about him and his mate are really, really big into hip hop music, and his friend was talking to him about potentially collecting hip hop cards. So,
Mhm.
and he was like, that they do exist. They do exist. He was telling him. Just your thoughts on hip hop cards. As we know, there's always something for someone to collect in the card hobby. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I definitely think it'll be done at some point. But the problem with hip hop cards, in contrast to sports cards, is there's no hip hop league. So you have to go and you have to pay every individual person. Like Panini pays the NBA. They don't pay LeBron, Klay Thompson, Curry, Harden, Durant. They don't have to pay them individually. They just pay the NBA a lump sum. Whereas in hip hop or in music, there's no league that bonds everybody together. There's no authoritarian organization that you could throw money at and then get everybody under the sun. Theoretically, you could do that with a record label, but there are dozens and dozens and dozens of them. It wouldn't really make sense. So, in terms of how much money it would take, it's really, really complicated on the hip hop card front, but it's a great idea. I think it'll be done eventually, and hopefully, I help out with it when it does.
Definitely. Maybe just food for thought, even for yourself. Potentially, I don't know, someone like a Tyson Beck, for example,
Hmm.
where it's not a
Yeah.
company, it's not actually a company. As we're seeing more and more artists, like card artists, coming into the market now, it could even potentially be someone like a Tyson Beck that get the rights to a hip hop artist, and they create a few designs and a couple print runs and then some limited stuff. So it could be something like that where it stops a company like Panini dropping like lump sums. Like you're saying, there isn't a hip hop league, so potentially that could be the future. Who knows? Time will tell, I guess. So
Throw these
Although,
ideas out there. Hopefully Tyson hears this and goes out there and tries to get Drake or something like
yeah,
that.
he partners up with Buster, and then match made in heaven.
it's funny. But I will say though, I don't know if you guys have heard of this thing, but it's called the Crew League, and it was a basketball tournament. We just did season one. I actually broadcasted it, so I went back to my play-by-play roots. But it's rappers and their entourages playing basketball against each other, 4-on-4. Sway Lee's team won, but so maybe that is the league right there.
The Crew League.
The
Yeah,
Cruel
I
League. There
like
you
it.
go. Definitely. The future of Hoops Nation. Before we get into massive card talk here, obviously we'll get the general stuff out of the way. Just the future of Hoops Nation. What do you eventually envision it becoming? Sorry. For yourself personally, but for obviously everyone following you?
Yeah, so Hoops Nation, now I'm personally pretty removed from it. I have my team doing all the posting and content stuff, and I'm more focused on both, building out, ways for us to do original content with NBA guys and cool, unique stuff, differentiating, and being able to, make products that really resonate with the people and more DTC stuff. But also beyond just like expanding to other platforms and trying to be ahead of things, building out some of those subsidiaries. So Cards Nation being one, Travel Nation is going to be the next one, which is like the nature travel element of things. So diving into a totally different industry. Ideally, I want to do, similar stuff as to what Complex Networks has done, except instead of coming from like the news hip hop media side, I'm coming from the sports side and then branching out from there.
Nice, very nice. Well, you answered the question there for me with Cards Nation. That is your affiliate to Hoops Nation, and you've got some great content on there. So, perfect lead in to your card collecting. When did you start collecting? First of all, then what do you PC?
Yeah, so I started collecting in 2013. Not a bad year to start. Second year of Prism, Giannis rookie year. I was going to shows, buying and selling stuff. Although, back then, I didn't have much. I wasn't as focused on the money of it as I was on the collecting of it. And I think, that's a beautiful thing, but it doesn't bode well for long-term investing collecting. I PC'd Tobias Harris, like I wish I PC'd LeBron or Giannis back then, not even, not even for the investment side of it, just because that would have been just smart in general. But I learned a lot of lessons way back then. And then, I took a few years break from it. Was in later in high school. I didn't have as much time for it, and I was focused on other things. But then I got back into it last year, about last summer, last fall in 2019. And whew, it has been more fun than ever. Investing and all that stuff aside, it is just so much goddamn fun, and everybody in it is so lovely and great conversations, great people in the hobby. I think that's been the best part about it. But who do I PC now? Last year, at the beginning of this year, I was very, very big on Jaren Jackson and Jackson Hayes. Partially, and I think this is something bad on my end. I'm very biased towards people who come on my podcast. Once somebody comes on my podcast, I'm like, whew, gotta buy all his rookies now. But all jokes aside, I've grown to like vintage and things outside of basketball. But obviously the LeBron, Kobe's, Jordans can't hurt with those.
I think it's time for you, Saucy. Just take over here. He's mentioned a few things here that have triggered you that you absolutely love. JJJ being the first one. Secondly, Buster's said vintage. Your favorite word when it comes to this hobby is vintage. So,
Yes, it is. It is, Doma. First of all, Jackson Hayes. Look, I can't save your graces on that one, Buster. I think if you've gone down that road, he might turn out to be something good. But I think JJJ, on the other hand, there's where you've made a absolutely cracking decision, because, like myself, I've got quite a few JJJ cards, so I'm not going to say he's bad, but I think he could potentially win the most improved player this season. He was looking to build on his game, so that team there, Memphis, I believe there's no success if JJJ isn't firing. If you've just got Ja Morant, firing, they won't take the next level as a team if you haven't got those two, because I feel like they're the two centerpieces in their organization that they're going to try build around. So personally, JJJ, I think he's going to be an absolute elite player. And then the second thing is vintage. I've been telling people, look, I love the modern day. I love all the hype around building on into the season and the excitement that it brings, and everyone's so excited, right? And I am too. But when it gets to a point where some of these modern day guys start to surpass the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe, Tim Duncan, other guys that have won multiple championships and have, solidified their place in basketball history, that's where I sort of draw the line in the sand, and I'll stop buying the Trae Youngs and the Ja Morants and the Zions, and I'll just start buying only Kobe Bryant, which is pretty much what I've been doing lately, just only buying Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. So only only those two guys. And I've been telling people, I'm like, for the price that people are paying for Trae Young, Luka Doncic, all these guys, Kobe Bryant's cards are severely underpriced and way too cheap for what he's accomplished and what he's meant to the game of basketball. So I pretty much say it on our podcast on a weekly basis. So anyone who listens to our podcast weekly, they'll know that I've been hyping on about this for a while. And I just try to inform people, like, don't put all your eggs in the Zion basket or the Jar basket, or we don't know what's going to happen. We don't even know. Ja Morant could be the next Russell Westbrook, where he just puts up crazy numbers, but then it's just no good in the playoffs. Like, you don't know what could happen. Luka Doncic could be the next James Harden, where he just puts up numbers and he's 7-8 years into his career and he hasn't won a chip. Then what happens? What happens to his card prices then? So we don't know, and I just keep saying to people, like, think about what if or what could happen. Whereas, you look at a player like Kobe or Shaquille, and there's no what if. It's that's happened, and that's where we're at in the market, and I just want people to be aware of that sort of stuff.
I think you made a few great points. One being, well, I think before I have to preface it with, it all depends on what your intentions are in the hobby, right? Like, if you're just collecting for the sake of collecting because you love players, there's nothing I can say or any of us can say to deter you from buying the players that you love because you love them and it makes you happy. I love that. I think it's a hell of a lot better than going out and gambling or going out and, doing something stupid, buying something that depreciates in value, like a sneaker or something like that. No knock on sneakers. I'm just a card guy. But and then to the contrary of that, even if you're not an investor in cards, but you're in cards, you should always buy things that you think are going to appreciate, because the alternative is that it depreciates and you lose money. Why not get stuff that's going to perform well long term? But to the modern point, you just got to make sure you don't hold on to your modern for too long. And if you go into it knowing that, you'll be good. You'll be good, because as the season goes, as you buy players whose hype are building, if you buy in the off season, if you buy when players are injured, you buy, buy low, sell high, but be aware of that. Whereas with vintage, or guys like Kobe, LeBron, Shaq, Jordan, whomever, Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell, you don't have to sell those ever. Those will appreciate for your entire life. And there will be tiny ups and downs just on overall market impact, but you're a lot safer with those. But in terms of modern, you definitely got to be very careful, because like you were saying before, you've got guys who have done better than the ceiling of Trae Young, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, who are cheaper now after accomplishing what is above the ceiling of these current young guys that we're talking about, who are cheaper than the young guys who we're talking about, who have not yet accomplished it. Part of that is hype. Part of that is people who are, gamblers and investors and are playing on that. And, granted, we're not going to see Bill Russell, unless something crazy happens, go out on the court and put up a 50-point triple-double, whereas we could see that with Luka or Trae. I get that. But in terms of being long-term cognizant and safe with your investments, sometimes it does make more sense not to go modern.
Definitely. We couldn't
agree on that sentiment.
John definitely went on his massive rant for one reason on a recent podcast, was because we understand Kobe and we've got all these vintage players, but one thing that really got on his nerve was that LeBron, who's currently playing, as we know, he's got the 4 chips and he's probably going to break almost every single record known, that pertain to him in the league. He's going to break everything. And you can go out there and everyone just looks at that Topps Chrome rookie card and they go, oh, that's it. But John's been trying to tell people there's other LeBron rookie cards and there's different variants that are more affordable, but to the problem of they're more affordable, but yet a modern day guy is worth more than LeBron. And he's just, both of us, I still can't believe you can actually go out there and buy a different variant of LeBron in a rookie card.
You can get a LeBron refractor rookie for like $4,000. Like,
yeah,
high grade numbered refractor rookie. I probably shouldn't have said that because now they're all going to be gone, but too late.
But look, the Buster effect. We love it. But it's literally, it's so true. It's mind-boggling. Like we said, it is expensive, but it's cheap, if it makes sense. Like you're going and like you're saying, a LeBron refractor high graded for like $4,000. That's actually cheap because he's currently playing. Wait till he's not playing anymore. Look at Jordan card.
So right.
I just don't get. It's actually cheap. It could be $10,000. But you got to look at that Wayne Gretzky card, like we spoke about, the O-Pee-Chee one. That was $10,000, $15,000, like early last year.
Was it really? It was that low.
And then it's selling for $1 million. So it's because the card boom. Yeah, I get it. But like LeBron's playing, why don't you collect him now? Once he's finished, like the prices are going to go through the roof, and no one's going to be able to afford him. So why aren't we getting him? Like I think, like it's exactly to what you're saying, Buster. Your point exactly. They come in. Some are investing. They want to make a quick dollar, so they flip the cards quickly. So they're all collecting modern day guys because of the hype, and then some of them are just collecting some vintage guys because they're like, yeah, we've got them there, but then they jump back on and collect modern day players and flip them for the hype. Then the third option is a lot of people new to the hobby, and the only thing that they know how to do is buy and flip or just PC modern day players. And because they're just PCing modern day players and they really, really want Luka and Trey, that's why the prices are skyrocketing, because it's like that's the guy they want to PC because they've grown up watching these guys. So
it's funny. The hobby, the longer you guys have obviously been in for a long time. The longer you're in the hobby, the more you see these things, happen. The risks of modern guys. Like my favorite example is Andrew Wiggins. There was a point in time where an Andrew Wiggins Prism rookie auto was more expensive than a Michael Jordan autograph. Wow. 2014, you go to any card show, a Wiggins is $400, a Jordan's $300. Insanity. And that's why it's dangerous to PC modern young guys who haven't established themselves, because you could be left with nothing.
It's true. Just don't. The words of wisdom are: don't put all your eggs in one basket for modern day players. Just diversify. It's like a portfolio. Think of it like a portfolio. Diversify. And like we've said before, not to say don't collect modern day players, just don't look at them as the heavy investment. Get like your Zions and your Jars, keep the best two that you've got and just go, yep, that's the ones I want for my PC for down the track as the 10-year investment into them. But the rest of them, don't just sit on them and be like, oh, I've got 1,000 Zion cards and he's going to be so-and-so. But you don't know.
The only time it's acceptable to put all your eggs in one basket is if they're not playing. Meaning, if you buy at the beginning of the offseason and you sell before they play a game, that is the only time that is okay.
So the advice is, if you've just bought Taylor Horton-Tucker, please sell them before the 22nd of December, because he's not going to be getting minutes like he is in preseason games, because LeBron and AD will actually play. I don't think people have realized that they're the two cornerstones of that Lakers team. So they're going to get all the minutes.
What do you mean, Doma? Yeah. What are you talking about? Taylor Horton-Tucker is the savior of the Lakers franchise. Yeah. He's going to lead us to back-to-back chips. He's going to lead us to back-to-back chips. What are you talking about?
just
Taylor
another,
Horton Tucker is the
It's not
GOAT.
like you sounded like Bobo's agent.
yeah.
Oh wow!
But
It
genuinely, he's
was
a great
coined it
player
the
and he's a great
Bobo
find.
effect 2.0. The
It is the
Bobo
Bob.
effect 2.0.
It is.
That was a mess. I got a buddy who had like 15K in the Bobo in like January, and I think he made out pretty well when that happened, but that 15K turned into like 150K overnight if he had exited all of it. Crazy.
It's insane. But those are definitely the rewards you can reap as a collector. Like if things like that happen. But that's
You
exactly
don't see
like you're
stuff like
saying,
that in
though.
the stock
Yeah.
market. You just don't.
Yeah, you just don't know. You just don't know. Yeah, you just don't know at all. Just to finish off with that question there, do you remember the first card you ever bought or ripped? First pack you ever ripped?
I actually have a good story about this.
Oh,
I bought a 2013-14 titanium basketball, my favorite product to this date because it was the first I ever got. I was leaving school. I had like 20 to $30 to spend at a card shop back when card shops existed. And I walked all the way across. I went to school in Brooklyn. I walked all the way across the Brooklyn Bridge because the card shop was in Manhattan. I went in, I got one pack because they were $20 a pack at the time. Now they're like $150 a pack, and each pack was guaranteed an auto or a jersey card. And I didn't open it until I got all the way back home. Opened it. I got a dual Kobe jersey card, and I was the happiest. Numbered to 299. Like you can probably get that card for $100 now, but um, I was a very happy camper that day. Yeah.
very nice.
Nice.
I just love the fact that you're paying $20 for a packet. So that's the best part.
Yeah.
Like, in what world are we getting that ever again? Probably never. But
Never, never.
but that's awesome. Uh, NBA cards. We know you collect. What are the few other things that you like to collect? You've got a nice niche collection there as well, as we know that you collect Pokemon too. So just a bit of an insight in the rest of your collection, what you like to dabble
Yeah,
in.
so I'm a big Pikachu guy. I have my real PC is probably Pikachu. Because he's that legendary guy that can't go out and tear an ACL or get a
Yes.
DUI or say something political. He's Pikachu's good.
This guy's
Pikachu
pika pika. That's all he says.
That's all he said. He's not saying anything crazy. But I really like him because although Charizard is the king of Pokemon and sells for the most extraordinary amounts, low pop and all that. Pikachu is the most underrated guy in Pokemon, and like I said, I have to preface everything I say about a card with the fact that I own a lot of them. So I have so much interest in saying that it's a great buy or card. So I have to disclose that. But I really like Pikachu because, for I like Pokemon in general for a couple of reasons. One being the game launched in 1999. So kids that were collecting then are now entering their financial prime. They're in their 30s, their 40s now, late 20s maybe. And they have money. They didn't back then. So now a lot of those collectors, and they also have kids. So a lot of those collectors are now going back and getting some of the cards and things that they could never have as a kid, and buying graded versions and buying them as investments as part of this new alternative investment class. So that's one of the reasons I like Pokemon and Pikachu in particular because he is in the movies. He is more well known. He is Halloween costumes every year. He is all these different things and just beloved. In addition to the fact that we got 25th anniversary coming up, you got new influencers hopping in, way more influencer, big time like celebrities hopping into Pokemon than into sports cards, from what I've seen. You got like rappers like Logic and Logan Paul doing a 20 million view live stream break and things like that, really pushing the market there pretty drastically and up and down, but like anything, up overall. And then beyond that, my collection is very, very odd. You would think I'm probably a crazy person given how many different things like. I buy presidential autographs, so I have probably 15 different president signatures, and always in the market for those. Just I love the history, and for some guys, the population's actually pretty low on some of that stuff, and the history there is so cool. Like in the league, in the NBA, you have 400 players every year. They go in and out and out. For the country of the United States. You got one guy in the whole league, and that only changes at minimum every 4 years. That's really intense stuff. Um, so I like that. I buy business cards, signed business cards of really great entrepreneurs and celebrities and things like that. My favorite's probably got to be Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. I got
Yes.
a couple of those.
Nice.
And you can find those out there. But I got a few other team owners and things like that. Given the low population and the rise of the card boom, given that it is a business card, it's pretty cool, and they're all authenticated by PSA DNA and things like that. What else do I buy? Sealed boxes, obviously. You got to. That's the safest investment in the whole game. Uh, Not as fun, but safe. And
You
I also
buying
don't
any
like how
tennis
much
goats?
space.
What
What's
about
up?
tennis? Tennis.
Yep, got all sorts of random stuff. Federer, PSA 10, 2003 Net Pro rookie, got some signed ones too. Big tennis guy. I can't even remember everything I collect. A lot of sealed packs from random years.
PSA
Oftentimes
10
when
on
I
those
see,
Roger Federers are going at 375. So if you got in early, you'd be laughing because at one point there, they were going for like close to $100. I'm pretty sure when I looked at them quite a while ago.
yeah, they were really cheap. Um, but but yeah, one of the things that I do like to do. So for example, right now. I'm looking at a few rookies. I'm not going to say who, but from past years, and I'm thinking more so than just buying their rookie card. I'm thinking about buying the boxes and packs that they came in, like old, pre Panini, because it's a way to diversify your investment a little bit while still being particular. Like if you really liked Kobe, you could buy a 96 sealed Chrome pack for less than a PSA 10 Kobe.
Very
Holds the
true.
possibility of anything, but it's still diversified because he wasn't the only guy. So I think there is a plus to looking at that in a sort of different direction. But I got business cards of candidates, of presidents, of all sorts of different things. I've got celebrity autographs. I think the other day I said this on another podcast, but I bought like 20 Kylie Jenner autographs just for no reason. I thought they were $20 each. I cleaned off eBay for them. $20 each. I'm like, huh, $20. She never signs, and she has 200 million followers or whatever she has. That seems like a really, really good buy. Somebody wants these, so why don't I get them all graded and throw them back out in the right places?
Very
And
smart. Very, very smart there.
so I like doing that. It's so not about the money. It is so about the fun of it and being able to like share these stories and have these conversations. So that's why I like doing those random ones. But yeah, man, just so much fun. All of it. I love
I,
it.
I like it. There's a few things there. The presidential collection, I really am interested in something like that, especially your collection. You are not just owning a signature, it's also a piece of history from your country, which is awesome. That's actually something that's fantastic. That's the way I view it. People might look at it and go, oh, it's weird. I'll be like, nah. And you've had how many presidents? 50, is it 54 presidents? Is it 50?
46, I believe.
46, sorry. 46 presidents. So you got to think about that in the history of your country. There's only been 46 signatures, like obviously multiple times, but only 46 people have signed as a president of the United States. So
That's not
that,
even a full football team.
correct. So that there is just like a piece of history in itself, which I reckon is absolutely awesome. I like the ones about celebrities in terms of like even business cards. Phil Knight, that's awesome. I don't know if you've got any Warren Buffett in there. I don't know, but that
Warren Buffett is so expensive. That's like a $10,000 signed business card.
there you go. So it is
Yeah.
transitioning into that side of things as well. The Kylie Jenner is a very, very smart purchase, in my opinion. I agree with you. She's
I'm
got that.
investing. Yeah.
She's a very smart woman, but on top of that, with that large group of people following her, you're gonna get people out of that 200 million people following Kylie that will go gangbusters, and it's a type of following that would pay absolutely anything to get a piece
Bro.
of her memorabilia. So
One of those, if those 200 million people knew that these existed, they would want them.
well, if they knew they existed, you wouldn't have them. That's the way I look at
Yeah.
it.
I wouldn't
You
be
would,
able to afford them. I can't
yeah,
compete.
you would not be able, you would not have them. Full stop. As simple as that. The other one, obviously, Charizard is king. Pikachu. Uh, John and I are both born in '93, so we grew up with Pokemon. It was such a massive part of our childhood and growing up. And the fact that it's still going strong now, I'm looking probably 5, 10 years down the track. My kids are probably going to be playing Pokemon. So that's the scary thing. It's unbelievable. Not for anything. All of us here, it was literally we were trailblazers for that type of for that product, really, for Pokemon in
Totally.
itself. We're part of its success. Pikachu is the icon. I know Charizard's king, as you said, but Pikachu is, like you said, the Halloween costume. He is the poster boy. Pikachu is the poster boy of Pokemon. Everything when there's festivals in Japan, uh, in my opinion, Pikachu is extremely undervalued because I don't know if it's because they've circulated so many of his cards because he is so popular, but I think your best bets with Pikachu, if you do want to get into collecting, obviously collect the ones that you really like because there's some really cool Pikachu art cards out there. But obviously old school red cheek, yellow cheek Pikachu. But promo Pikachus, if you can pick up the promo Pikachus, they're the ones you have to go for. All products like Vivid Voltage, they've got the full art Rainbow Rare Pikachu, like cards like that of the newer stuff, they're the ones you want to collect. But the promo cards are the ones. I found that out in the flukiest way known to man. Uh, I bought a couple of those Japanese Pikachu. It was Charizard X and Y Poncho box sets from Japan in like 2016, and I had them stored away. And John was doing a live stream one night on his Instagram page, and he goes, "Oh, pull out your Pokemon cards." I was on our double coverage account, and we're talking to people, and I'm flicking through, and I go, "Oh, I got these sorry, is it 6 promos because you get 2 just base Pikachu promos out of there as well, which are really cool looking cards as well. They got the Pokemon Center, Pokemon stamp of authentication on there, which are awesome. But then the Poncho Pikachu's, I pulled them out, and John was like, "What are those?" And I'm like, "Oh, just some Pikachu promo card." Anyway, I looked at the price. I almost fell out of my chair. They were raw prices, and I was like, this is not real." But their first edition as well. They got promo on there. I just want to ask you, I think we put into existence, like talking to yourself, but we haven't really said it much, but I think Japanese is severely, severely underrated. People are forgetting, like, the perfect example is Evolutions. It came out in 2016 or 2015. The same, it's just a print run of the Japanese set that was the 25th anniversary box. Everyone that collected the English version was told, "Oh, it was like they got duped, really. It's like, oh, this is the 25th anniversary pack for the English release." There has not been one box set that said 25th anniversary on or 20th anniversary, sorry, at the time, on the box. Nothing. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, but it's a base set reprint. This is the 20th anniversary box." Well, it's not. It's just Evolutions. You have to go get the Japanese box. Fortunately enough, I've got it. But I ripped it, and people might say, "Oh, you're crazy ripping it," but I pulled the Charizard, so I don't really care that I
Hey,
ripped it.
let's
So,
go.
and the thing is, that product is first edition. There's no more English print run first editions that are in existence, only Japanese. So I don't understand how an Evolutions Charizard, I understand it's in an uh, English print, could be worth more than the exact same Charizard that's from a 20th anniversary box, has first edition on it, and the printing is in Japanese because John and I's theory is you're collecting the card for the card. You're not going out there to play with it, like in a tournament. So everyone that goes, everyone collects it because they use it in tournaments. No, like let's be realistic. I don't want to try and get people upset. But when you're collecting Pokemon cards and you're an avid collector, and you get graded cards, you're not going to Pokemon tournaments and dropping graded cards in your deck when you're playing. Let's be realistic. Like,
imagine you had your whole every single card in your deck was graded. Your deck would pile up like this high on the table.
Yeah, I think those days are behind us.
Yeah. That's exactly right. So
and complete disclaimer, I've collected Pokemon cards from a young age, and I have never ever played the TCG game. Ever once in my whole life.
Yeah, me neither.
So my whole thing is very undervalued. I just want to know your thoughts on the Japanese prints, considering this first edition still out there, but people sleeping on it. I don't know. They're sleeping on it, and they're not saying it like us. But.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think the fact that you can buy packs from pre-US launch, from 1996, sealed packs for cheaper than you can buy a box from 2016. I think that's ludicrous. I think that's an easy opportunity there. But again, it's not a matter, like, our logic can be sound on tons of investments. It's just what's the demand? People like the English cards because they can read them. People cards, you hear it all the time, but it really is like art, and you want to be able to understand the art. You can't just Google. You could theoretically, but you don't Google translate your Japanese Pokemon cards. So that it takes a hit there. But in terms of long-term value, it's all just a holding your breath contest, right? It's how let's say I buy a first edition Charizard. How long can I sit on this? Through the ups, through the downs. How long am I okay with not having any money out of it? And whoever holds out the longest wins. But the thing is, there is no longest because it's a never-ending race. So you really got to just move how you want. But in terms of investing in the Japanese cards, I think it's a great buy. The hype's just not there. But could it be one day? Maybe. But that's not for me to decide,
Definitely. But yeah, like you said, it is a holding your breath contest, and time will tell, I guess, with all that stuff there. But interesting collection. Awesome that you could give some insight into it, which is fantastic. We'll move on to some sport talk. We'll relate it back to the hobby if you want to. But what are your thoughts on the upcoming NBA season? And who do you think will take their game to another level?
Well, I think the Knicks are winning the title.
Obi Toppin.
How did I know you were going to go with that?
I think the Lakers are going to repeat. I don't think even the healthy Brooklyn Nets are going to stop the Lakers. LeBron's going to get number 5, and that's going to be that. I'm excited to see what else goes on, though. I'm happy Giannis re-signed in Milwaukee. I like to the Knicks in all seriousness. I like our new young rookie Obi Toppin. I think he's a stud. But in terms of who's going to be making big jumps, I don't think any team's going to be making a crazy jump. I don't think we're going to see a Miami Heat like we did last year come out of nowhere. I think it's probably going to be the Nets and the Lakers in the finals, with the Lakers winning and LeBron or maybe Anthony Davis winning Finals MVP. But I do think we'll see a lot of individual stars break out, and I think that'll make it a very fun season for the card market.
Definitely. Anyone you think in particular that could be that one that breaks out? Zion aside, considering
Jaren Jackson.
Considering Zion's not going to have restrictions, so we know he's going to. Yeah.
John said Jaren Jackson. I'm going to second that. We got to get him back.
I'm going to start getting some of these JJJ cards.
But again, I think it's important. I back in like March, February, I was cool with. I would always tell people like, yeah, I like this guy, I like that guy. Now I realized, regardless of what I say, somebody's gonna either make money or lose money. And if they lose money, they're gonna blame me. And if they make money, they're gonna want more from me. It's a lose-lose, no matter who I say.
Fair enough. That is fair enough. We've gone Lakers, both of us. We actually met with the boys at Talking Cardboard and did a bit of a season preview, and we all went Lakers unanimously, which was interesting. I think we're more looking into that Brooklyn dynamic to see how it's actually going to work. I think they got two great players there. we hope there's no drama within that locker room that derails them. That's the thing that we want. We don't want to see. Although it will be very exciting, and it gives people something to talk about. We don't want to see it. We rather the talking point with Brooklyn be that they're just destroying everyone in the East because they're that good. So that's the talking point we want there. And the other thing was very interesting was obviously Giannis staying, but also where James Harden's going to land. Is he going to eventually move on from the West and come play for Philly in the East? That could change the dynamic there again. It's just there's so many variables, and like you're saying, there could be so many guys that look like they're on the bubble about to just burst straight through it. So we're just as excited as you are for the hobby, but also for the NBA season to get going. So I think it's going to be a whirlwind of a season. 72 games, in your face, like just going 100 million miles an hour from the get-go.
It is. There's back-to-backs. There's less, a lot more back-to-backs this season than there was last season, and yeah, it's gonna be good stuff.
It's gonna be great. Your thoughts on? I know I'm putting you in this spot here because you just mentioned the lose-lose situation, but the draft class. If you don't want to put any picks like out there, you don't have to. But the draft class in general, because it's copped a bit of heat in terms of like, oh, it's going to be terrible. We've looked at it completely different. We just said the kids didn't get the opportunity to get broadcasted nationally because of COVID. That's the issue. Not that they're terrible players. Like, you can't knock kids when you haven't seen them play, and they're not for anything since the draft till preseason, because a lot of them are balling out in preseason. So many people have changed their tune and gone, oh, these kids are actually good. So it's like, just
there's no such thing as a bad draft class.
Correct. Thank you. There you go.
Every bust has its hero. 2013 was a bust draft class until Giannis was the best player in the last 5 years. 2014 was a bust. All of a sudden, there are like 10 guys out of there who are hot. 2017 was a bust until Jason Tatum became the star of the class. We could do this game all day long.
100%. 100%. I just think they didn't get obviously, no one did this year, unfortunately, but they didn't get what they deserved from what kids in college got, obviously, the years prior to them in terms of like March Madness. They didn't get that opportunity. Everyone's so high on LaMelo Ball because when everyone wasn't playing college, he was playing here in Australia. So there was footage of him. So my whole thing's like, you can't go based off footage and say, like, I'm not knocking LaMelo at all. I'm just saying you can't say because you've got footage on one guy, he's the best and everyone's terrible just because you got vision. It's the same thing with Wiseman. We spoke about the fact that he was heads and shoulders the best player to come out of the draft, according to everyone. Then he got suspended and he wasn't playing, so everyone forgot about him. Then he came back and he played 2 games, and then we went into COVID. So then Wiseman was like, nobody was high on him, but because when it came to the draft, they're like, yeah, he probably goes at 2. But
right.
They're saying he was going to be unanimously, oh, he's going number 1. No one at all in this draft class is going to be better than him. Well, he didn't play for whatever it was, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, through his suspension. Everyone forgot about him. Like, short-term memory is not great. Like, you got to just do your research. It's not just in the card game, but just with sports in general, because you can look like an absolute dill coming out and just putting crap out there. And you sound like an idiot saying, oh, the draft class is stupid. And then you watch preseason games and you're like, oh, Koro's the best player. And Denny Avdija scored, was running at 100% field goal percentage, so he's the best. And
he's great. I like him.
Yeah, but people are going to turn around to you and say, but didn't you say this draft class was terrible? Like, let's be realistic. I completely agree with you what you were saying with previous draft classes, but I always go back to just the draft class before this one. We had definitively Ja and Zion. We knew they were going to be something as the prospects. Like, they could be superstars. They could have been a bust. Who knows? But they were the 2 guys out of that draft. You go talk to people that were in the, scouts and stuff knew certain players were going to be good and whatnot in that draft. But how many people out there, if you genuinely go to them, just the average Joe, and just say, listen, did you think that Sekou Doumbouya, Rui Hachimura, Tyler Hero, like all these guys were going to be good? If anyone says, yeah, I knew that. No, you didn't. Like, they were killing it, and that's where you went and collected their cards. If you knew it, you would have got him before the season even started, like Zion and Jar. So this is the whole thing. That draft class, if it wasn't for Jar and Zion, was like a whatever draft, in my opinion. You look at it in the same view as this draft. And they got a March Madness. So that's why I just give them a break. They're just kids as well in the end of the day. And they haven't shown anything yet because, not for anything, as you know, the jump from college to the pros is massive. And some that kill it in college can't transition into the NBA style of gameplay. It's just
Totally. No, it's super true. I also just quick, I want to give a heads up just in case you have any specific things you want to get to. I do have to run in 4 minutes. So I
nice.
just want to give you a heads up.
Nice. That's all good. We've got our last question right now anyway. The last question is, I know your disclaimer again, but any hidden gems for people in the hobby or products that are a hidden gem?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that you think, good investment.
I think presidents are a hidden gem. Jimmy Carter, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Obama. Biden's overpriced now, but there are a bunch of semi-modern, affordable presidents out there that I think are super undervalued. If you're buying the right things, though, definitely do, like everything, you got to do a lot of research before you put any money into it.
Correct.
They say 6 weeks research before you buy your first card. Very hard to do. Usually you need to buy the card to get into it, but I think that's a good rule of thumb if you can do it. In terms of products, sealed wax, prism, if you can get any prism sealed ever, buy it. If you're buying it at market value, pretty much. Yeah, those will be my little sneaky guys. But again, buy PSA 10 Prism rookies of the guys you love, and you'll do pretty good.
Nice. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Buster. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Like we said, a bit of a milestone for us getting you on. It was someone that we strive to get on this show, yourself. So it's awesome. We look to hopefully collaborate further in the future.
100%. It was a milestone for me too. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy I was able to make it.
Happy to hear it. All right. That's been Dom, John, and Buster. Keep living, loving, and breathing sports. It's double coverage. Peace.
Peace out, ladies and gents.
Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all sports, double coverage.